Hello, this is Paul Hefner, and this is part 2 of how to come up with an idea for your startup. So I'm going to focus on 2 main areas. The first one is brainstorming, and the second one is evaluating the ideas. Of course, you can always copy an existing business model, like I mentioned in the other video. So when it comes to brainstorming, sort of 2 ways to go about it. The first one is just get out there, experience life. Sort of see what people are doing, what they're struggling with. Lots of good ideas come from people who are doing a certain hobby or activity they like maybe they're mountain biking, they come up with an idea for mountain biking, or they're rock climbing, they come up with an idea for that. Or you can sort of just try to sit down and think about it. And come up with an idea. And so if you're going to do that approach, I have a couple thoughts to get through right now. So the first thing is, sort of get yourself in the right mood. Listen to some music or a playlist that you really like. Some people like to, are more creative in the morning. Some people are more creative in the afternoon or in the evening right before they go to bed. Some people think they're more creative after a few beers or cocktails. And whatever it is that gets you in that right sort of frame of mind. And I also say that some people don't think that they're creative, but I think everybody has ideas that they can come up with. I'm an engineer and I work in finance right now, so I don't know if you get much more less creative than that, but I come up with great ideas all the time, just when I sit down and think about it. So after you're in that right state of mind, the next thing is to sort of focus your brain on a particular thought. So I like to think of what are things that I like, and you can sort of list off all those things. And right now you're not trying to come up with a business, you're not trying to come up with anything, you're trying to brainstorm. The ideas that got me into creating these videos and creating this website right now is, I listed off that I really liked helping and working with other people, and I also listed that I really liked businesses and startups and learning about startups and seeing what works and what doesn't work, and all of those types of ideas and some other ideas led me to create this video as an example. You might like fishing, you might like watching TV, you might like whatever it is that you like. Just list all those things down, and later you can use that to come up with a business. Another thing is to do the opposite. List things that you don't like. The sort of necessity is the mother invention type thing can play out here. The famous example is Reed Hastings, the founder of Netflix, hated paying late fees at Blockbuster, so he decided to come up with his mail the DVD and take it as long as you want type program, and then eventually morphed into the sort of streaming service he does now. But I think a lot of people can relate, because a lot of people hated paying those late fees. A lot of the airlines have sort of done the same thing. People hate different fees, and there's different things that people hate that other companies try to capitalize on. So list off all the things that you hate. Another one that is, what have I paid money for? You can look back through your credit card bills or your bank statements and see, what are you spending money on? And a lot of times, if it's something that you're spending money on, other people will spend money on it too. And sometimes the two combined. Maybe there's something that you spend money on that you hate. So an example I had was I hated those red light tickets. And at least in Denver, they have these cameras set up where if you go through the red light, they take your picture, and then you get this thing in the mail that says, pay us $50. So I hated those. So I had an idea at one point to come up with a solution for that, and I'll talk about that a little later in the video. Another thing to do is talk to people. So you can be out, experiencing those activities that you like, or you can be in line, but start asking people, the same questions. What do you like? What do you hate? What do you hate paying money for? And through those conversations, a lot of times you can come up with an idea of like, oh yeah, well, if I came up with a way to, fix that problem, that would be a great idea for a business. And then typically what I do, I usually have my iPhone with me, so I'll just jot down a note in my iPhone. I'll have, notes that go on, for pages where I just sort of try to group different things and list them all down. A lot of ideas I'll list multiple times. I won't remember if I wrote it down or not, or it'll be, slightly different. So I'll write down all those thoughts, and a lot of times I don't go back and look at that list, until 2 weeks or a month later. Obviously, if you get a good idea along the way, you should, start. You don't need to wait to vet it through the process, but I think after about 2 weeks or a month, you should have a good list to start to evaluate the ideas. So that brings us to step 2, which is how do you evaluate the ideas? And this is where I think a lot of startups go wrong. So they don't really spend a lot of time here to make sure they get it right. So there's a few things I look at. That the first one to evaluate, sort of how easy is it to make this business. You could have a great idea to create this gadget, and if it's going to cost you millions of dollars, it might not be the best way to spend your time and your money. Whereas it might be really easy to do something else. That's something that I would consider, very, spend a lot of time thinking about it to see if it makes sense to start that business. The other thing is, once I have them all, my ideas and businesses listed out, I sort of think, how excited am I about it? So maybe I have an idea that somebody mentioned at the store, and I'm thinking about it, and I'm like, I'm just not excited about it as another idea. So I sort of rank the businesses and ideas on how excited I am about working on it. So the last time I did sort of just this amount right here, after in under a month, I'd come up with 100 ideas. I'd sort of combined those ideas into different things. So if you have something you don't like, then you come up with a solution for it. If you have something that you do like, you maybe combine with how could I monetize this or get paid for it, and I'd come up with 35 businesses. When I ranked them all on easy, medium, hard, I came up with 21 easies, and then sort of read through all the easies and came up with about 5 businesses that I really liked and was really excited about, and then created the one that was at the top, and I've started work on 2 of the other 5. One's on hold right now, and one is creating these videos to help people create their own startups. So then, once you have this list down to 5 or, whatever number you want, maybe it's 1, maybe it's 10, but what I would do is sort of take that first step to, starting the business. And this is, I don't know how people miss this step, but this is the logical first step is Google it and see, does it exist? And I've had many businesses sort of fail at this step. One of my favorite ideas was a champagne opener. I was, so excited about this. My wife is absolutely terrified of opening champagne bottles. She thinks it's going to hit her in the eye or it's going to fly off and break something, and she was terrified. So I had this idea because every time I go to the beer store or liquor store, I don't see any way to open up champagne openers or open champagne bottles. So anyway, I Googled it, and apparently there's tons of companies that make these things. Their distribution is just not through liquor stores. They have it through the web. So anyway, I was sort of devastated. But then I bought my wife one, and she loves it, and I think we impress all of our friends to have this little gadget, and it wasn't very expensive. So we're super excited about it. Another one is the red light tickets. I said I would come back to that. So I Googled that one, and there was all sorts of different ways to do it. There was things you could paint on your license plate, and different ways you could cover it up, and all different ways to get around that. And I sort of decided against that, but have found some other ways. Basically, not running red lights will prevent that from happening. But it's just an idea to throw out there. And even if you Google it and your idea is out there, and somebody else started to create it, you can always think, is your business different? Is it, an improvement upon the existing product? And a lot of good businesses have started this way. I think of Facebook, compared to Friendster and MySpace and all the other ones, or lots of other businesses that have come apart or come out of an existing business that was already out there, but they made it better. So you can always think about that. So then after you've Googled it, hopefully if it's not out there, this is sort of the first step to really get your business going. When I Google something, I don't see it, I get super excited and want to start it as soon as possible to be that first person to do that. I don't think the urgency's quite there, but in your mind you sort of get excited about it and can start working on it. So the next part is sort of the second step is take these ideas and start talking to customers. You can ask them, would you pay money for this product? What do you think of it? All these types of ideas. And I think sometimes people are a little afraid to do this because they think somebody will, steal their idea. And most of the people you're probably talking to are friends and family. But I think that the concern of people stealing their ideas is very small. And lots of people have written articles or challenged people to have their ideas stolen, and because of all the reservations people have with starting a business, the time constraints, they're risk adverse, maybe they don't think they have the experience. All of those things sort of prevent people from stealing your idea. And the other part is nobody will be as passionate about an idea as the person who originally came up with it. Sometimes people will hear it and say, oh yeah, that's a good idea, but the person who originally has it that really likes it is the people who are the most passionate about it. I have an example here where I had an idea similar to dress rentals. So my sister, whenever she has a fancy event, will rent a dress for the weekend, and they ship her the dress, and she wears it, and she likes that. So we had an idea to do the same thing for suits and ties, and for people that either had big events for guys, or if they had maybe they took a job that they had just started where they needed to wear a suit and tie but didn't have nice suits and ties, or maybe they had an important client they wanted to impress, and they could get a really expensive tie and wear it to the meeting, and then return it and not have to worry about it. But ultimately, when we talked to customers about the ties, they said that they would rather just if they started a new job, they'd go out to the store and just buy 5 ties, then they'd have those 5 ties for the rest of their life. It was sort of a better value prop than renting something for a month or 2 months, or maybe they had that job for 10 years. They'd be better off just buying the tie. And there were some other concerns that people had, but ultimately the people we talked to on this business, they found another workaround that was easier and a better value proposition for them, which is sort of the main thing you need to think through is, how are you saving people time? How are you saving them money, or how are you making them happier? And that's the main thing when it comes to, to sort of evaluating the idea or the business. And then the third step is listening to your customer and seeing, taking that feedback and saying, okay, well, maybe they, didn't like the tie idea, but would they rent something else? If they said, oh yeah, but I would do that for maybe a vacation rental, and then, ideas like the VRBO or companies like that start because people have things they want to rent out, but they don't want to actually buy. So there's, things that can spin out of talking with customers about what they would rent versus what they would buy in that example, or any other business idea that you're pursuing is listening to your customers, and then you keep refining it, and then before you know it, hopefully you have some customers that you're talking to that say, yes, I would buy that. And there's some entrepreneurs that are a little adventurous, and they'll actually sort of market and create a marketing campaign for a product that's not even existed yet. So an ebook is a popular example. I know people that have basically marketed a book saying, buy this book on how to save money on flights or how to, do something else, and they haven't created the book yet, and then they wait for customers to sign up for it, and then when they sign up for it, they say, oh, I have a version 1 that I can send you, or you can wait, 30 days or however how long they think it'll take them to make it for the upgraded version. And most customers will say, oh yeah, I'll wait the 2 weeks or the 30 days to get the other version, and then they have their first customers, and they know there's a demand, so then they spend the time. They know that their time is going to be well spent to make that product that the customers already like. So my closing thoughts are, the best way to come up with ideas and to evaluate them is to talk to people. So people will have ideas that they share, things that they're struggling with, or are paying money for, or frustrated with, and they'll also will tell you, if it's something that they will pay money for, which is the ultimate goal, I think. And once you get that idea, then you can, that far, then you can take it to the next step by creating a product and seeing if people, change their mind, and if they will, really buy their product, or if they were, just sort of interested in it, but they won't buy it, and that's sort of the next step with any idea. So, if you have an idea, I would say just get out there, talk to people about it, and see if people are interested in it. And if you're still sort of, struggling with what idea to go with, not sure if the idea you have is a good one, and struggling with any of those types of thoughts, then, I would check out the link below, and I'll give you some more examples and other thoughts to think about with coming up with an idea to start your own startup.